Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm really excited to share today's video because I feel like I'm getting a little bit more comfortable talking now and discussing topics more in depth and discussing deeper layers of topics. Today I want to talk about thinking for yourself. And I'm coming from the perspective of a first generation immigrant here. My family, I guess my parents, not my family, but my mother and father immigrated from India to the U.S. We lived in some other countries for a while too, but we mostly spent our time in the U.S. And I always thought that I had a difficult time connecting and socializing because I was like socially awkward or something. And yeah, there is some aspect to just like social skills that I do have trouble with, but it really didn't explain the level of difficulty I had fitting in and uh, yeah, pretty much fitting in. Feeling like I belonged in a group, any friend circle. It's been challenging, and a lot of it, I believe, has to do with the confusion I had in my cultural upbringing because my parents are coming from India. They're teaching me things they learned and things that they did in India, but it's not how society functions in America. Americans work like Americans. They socialize like Americans. They interact like Americans. And to add another layer to this, what makes it kind of interesting is, I got this from Aaron Clary actually. You got me thinking, like, why did my parents come to the U.S.? And it's very clear to me after going to India multiple times. I mean, I was born there, but I've gone and visited multiple times. It's an absolute mess there. It's very polluted, very disorganized, very corrupt. Of course, there's good things happening, but for the most part, wow, it's really taken a downhill turn. I mean, people talk about India advancing in the world economy and industrialism succeeding in India, but honestly, I feel like that's all propaganda. It's not really the direction people need to go for a more healthy, stable life. Is more pollution, more construction in in a place in a country that's already very disorganized. It's kind of a mess. And so what they do is they bring the toxic behaviors and cultural norms that aren't working in India and are the reason why they left, but they bring that to the US and they call it culture, our traditions, our culture. And it took me some time to understand this, that this is not my culture. We create culture. Culture is what's happening right now. It's not what someone did 1,000 years ago or 100 years ago and we call tradition. I'm not going to follow the customs of some guy that's dead who can't even understand the paradigm I'm living in. Well, he's dead, but then even if he was alive, there's no way you could comprehend the world we live in today. It's very different. So no, I don't believe in carrying culture like that. I am open-minded to seeing what traditional values have worked in the past, but I'm not going to stick a label on myself, say I'm Indian, so I'm Hindu, and this is my culture. Ganesh, Krishna, Hari Ram, Hari Ram. No, that's not how we roll here. Because I'm not going to put myself in a box, and I'm not going to limit my perspective of the world because of some traditional norms or traditional values. I'm not going to compromise my future for some arranged marriage or some arranged situation where I have to be something to my family. Because another thing I've realized too, and this is something I found on my own, but thank you, Aaron Clary. You guys check him out. He's really good for helping me clarify exactly what's going on. And it's very true that a lot of Asian families think that their children owe them something, that almost like they're slaves or property. And that comes from the cultural upbringing in a lot of Asian countries. It's just how it is. It doesn't work. There's a reason why America is still, or the modern world is heading in a certain direction, and these traditional values are not surviving. Because no one wants to be treated like shit. No one wants to be treated like a slave or property. Sure, it might have worked, in history in the past when we had different systems, we had different political and power systems, power struggles even, and there was more scarcity. There was a practical purpose to having children and raising them a certain way. But living through that experience, I did not align with it. I'm not anyone's property. I'm not a slave, and it took some time to get out of that conditioning too, because you love your parents, you love your family, you want to be there for them, but when you start seeing how they can compromise their compassion or morals or even ability to listen to you, to empathize with you for cultural norms and traditions that they want to carry, uh, because anything else is outside of their comfort zone, it just doesn't exist to them. It took me some time to escape that space. Um, and I'm going to talk about a few things that really helped me get out of a restricted paradigm. Like, this is the way life is. I'm going to do these things because traditionally this is what we do. And this in my culture, this is how we do it. And to be a good American, I must do that. No, we must first learn to think for ourselves, right? We learn to think for ourselves, then we create an optimal culture for the current paradigm. And so I'm gonna share with you some things that I've done, and some of them are very simple, that have helped me escape this matrix, so to speak, and find my own. I don't want to. It sounds cliche. I don't want to say find my own truth, but find my own understanding of myself in this paradigm and really see what's going on, instead of convincing myself of what I want to see. So, number one on my list, and this is not in any particular order, but everything is kind of interrelated here. Number one on my list is spend time alone. When we're around the same friend circles or we're around our family too much, their thoughts, their intentions can start to influence our behavior in ways that we don't know. So when you spend a decent amount of time away from your normal friend group or your family, so let's say you go travel, or let's say you finally have the means to move out of your parents' place, or find your own place away from roommates or something, you really get to see how you want to live. There's no, at least for me, I didn't feel like there was this angst anymore of like, what do people think? Uh, how will I be perceived? And there's none of that, because there's no one really judging you except for yourself. And that's something to see as well. It's like, where do these judgments come from? Do they come from, conditionings that I experienced with my family, or maybe from when I was bullied, or maybe from a teacher or something? It's a good time to digest that when you're alone and see like, what, this thought's really not serving me. I don't want to live this way. That's just the beginning of it, but really developing a lifestyle of solitude doesn't mean loneliness. Like, I'm not saying don't hang out with people, but have solitude. Have time for yourself to recenter, to reorganize, to recollect your thoughts and intentions. I think that's really important. And some of these, like I said, they all kind of mix into that. They're all intertwined. But one great way I find to do that is exercise. Exercising, for me personally, has like helped me take out the angst that I felt in my life. If there's like pent up frustration, anxiety from something, worry about something, when I go exercise, it's a time for me to really bring that out on the surface and release it through working out. Once you get your blood circulating like that, you get your heart rate up and you're really focusing on your reps, there's no other, like your mind doesn't really go anywhere else. It's really focused on that on that rep, on that exercise, and that release, that energy that's released as you do the workout. At least for me, just automatically releases all this pent up energy, and I immediately start finding more clarity in myself. And that brings confidence. That brings a lot of stability and confidence because it's like, you know what, this thing has been bothering me. This interaction has been bothering me, and now that I'm here by myself, so being alone, and I'm working out and I'm letting this energy out, and I'm flowing energy through me. I'm circulating blood, life force energy through me. I'm thinking clearly, and I know what I want. I see what I want, and I see with clarity what this other person is trying to say or do, or what their intention is. I see it a little bit clearer. And no, I want to take this stance, right? You can reach that firm conclusion, like this is what I want. When you see from clarity, when you're able to release the energies that are holding you back. So that's why I love exercise for that reason. It helps you step out of your mind to observe your thoughts. And guess what else does? Number 3 on the list, psychedelics. I love using mushrooms and cannabis for that reason. I've I've tried a lot of psychedelics for therapeutic reasons. And when I was younger, for recreational, out of just curiosity a few times. But really, for the most part, in my experience, I have used these medicines for therapeutic purposes and to understand them for therapeutic applications and to help others experience the therapeutic benefits, the healing benefits of medicines, natural medicines, psychoactive medicines. And I found that yes, they help you step out of your conditioning, right? What happens is when we start believing life is a certain way, we put ourselves in a box, right? Like this is the only way it can be. And when that happens, that's all you see in life. You stop your mind, your focus goes only to those things. So it's not a bad thing. Like if you're focusing on positive things, productive things in your life, goals and ambitions, that's good. But it's really important to step out so you can see what is productive for you and what is not so productive, right? What is really serving you and what is not. I think a lot of times we don't like stepping out of our comfort zone and challenging ourselves to do the things we really want or advance in the ways we really want because that's not fun, you know. Accepting that you don't know, that you're flawed, that you're not perfect, but you can improve. It's not an easy path to take. 'Cause it takes work, and we want convenience as humans. So yeah, it's important to step out of that comfort zone. I think psychedelics really help with that. Also, traveling. It's really nice to go to different places in the world and see our similarities, but also see the differences in lifestyle. One thing I really appreciate about Latin American cultures is how much they value community and community time. Um, Everybody works, but they don't take their work as seriously as we do in the US. Um, when it's 5, they're done. Shops and restaurants are closed early. People are spending time with their friends, drinking beers, hanging out. So I like that. And it kind of showed me, I'm not saying this is bad because I feel like Americans are, can be very productive and that can be a very good thing too. But I also noticed that in this culture in the US, we forget to live a little, you know? We forget to live a little. We just get so engulfed with our work and we make it our identity. And that can come from our culture to a lot of cultures like, Jewish cultures, Indian, Chinese cultures. They want their kids to be doctors and lawyers and So we get that influence of like what we're supposed to be and all that too. Uh, so it's good to travel and see that, you don't need to make work your identity. You don't need to live for your work. There's more to life. So there's little things like that you start learning and picking up as you travel. Um, Last thing I would say, and this is probably just for the younger crowd, is just like move out of your parents' house. I know you love your parents, and it feels nice to have that support. Or maybe you don't love your parents, I don't know. But it feels nice to have that support, but it's only going to hold you back. The earlier you learn to be self-sufficient, and I'm not saying like, you know, you don't need anyone. You can have a partner, you can have friends, but getting away from your parents is crucial. It's crucial because it helps you prove autonomy for yourself, and it also helps you see the world outside of the scope of what you've been taught and raised up with, and the scope of what your parents want from you, right? Those expectations can weigh heavy. So that's my little spiel. I will end by saying a journey of self discovery, taking the red pill, so to speak, is not, it's revealing, it's beautiful, but it can be difficult. It can be rough. Because as humans, we prefer convenience. So generations of the past have made decisions based on cultural norms, based on what's convenient, right? What's readily available. And that's not always the best solution. So when you start seeing that, you know, a lot of this game is rigged and the world isn't what it appears to be, and you want to change that paradigm or you want something different for yourself, a lot of people, including your own family, are going to fight you on that. So you got to be up for the battle and not succumb to the negativity and the doubt. Keep going down the path. It's worth it. It's probably the only thing that's worth it is to understand and accept yourself and this paradigm we live in. Acceptance. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end there. Thank you for listening to my rambles. I really appreciate everyone that's tuning in. I'm going to start making longer content. I'm not going to put that expectation on myself, but I feel like I am because I am getting more comfortable talking. I also got a nice organization tool. I don't like being stimulated by too much technology, so I got this thing called a Remarkable 2. It is fantastic, guys. It's so minimalistic. I should say essentialistic. It's very essential. It's got everything I need to organize my thoughts and do my work without all those pesky distractions and notifications. So I love it. Getting my ideas together. I'm really looking forward to sharing more content with y'all. I'm wishing you a blessed day. Until next time.